one thing is really important to distinguish. The Seventh-day Adventist Church works through votes. The voice of the church, the official voice of the church, are the statements voted at the General Conference in session, the administrative committee, so those becomes official document, and we can say, well, the Adventist Church say this. But since the beginning, like when I represent the church, I do not represent myself. It's not my personal opinion. When people ask me, what does the Seventh-day Adventist Church say about this or that, I go to our official statements and say, this is what the church has voted, right? So, but right from the beginning, to connect with mention, like the events here in June, the Seventh-day Adventist Church was very prudent from the beginning to believe in the principle of separation of church and state. So in other words, the church as a whole does not participate in a political opinion making. But Adventists individually have freedom of conscience. And this is true for so many things. For example, we have been at the General Conference accused recently for promoting vaccine. We have not promoted that. But the church made a statement at one point, the Department of Health, saying, if we look at history, if a missionary goes to a country, it's mandatory to be vaccinated. Okay. And in that context, the health department said that there is nothing, that will prohibit a pastor or a person, Adventist, to be vaccinated. And that has been taken out of context, and people start accusing the General Conference that we are promoting vaccine. We have not. Adventists have freedom of conscience to refuse to be vaccinated. However, that doesn't mean that the church has to stand for the person. The church is not a political entity in that sense, even though we gave advice in how to deal with health authorities in order to manage that situation. But the concept of separation of church and state is very important for Adventist consciousness. I remember when, what is his name again? Ben Carson, who, was a candidate to the US presidency. Wherever I go, people ask me, oh, now you have an Adventist in politics. I say, no, that's not true. Because we are not paying him. Pastors and so forth, so on, they represent the church, but Ben Carson doesn't represent the church. As a member, he is free as an American citizen to be a candidate, like any Adventist. So in other words, people have to make a distinction between freedom of conscience. You can choose to vote or not to vote. The church is not going to force you to vote or not to vote, right? But we make a clear difference. We do not engage. The Seventh-day Adventist does not have a candidate for presidency or politics or something like that. No, that is against our religious freedom, basically. I would like to talk about the issue of the remnant and so forth. So, you want to say something about that?
I think, as already indicated, in the interest of time, because we have another meeting at Nairobi Central, I'll not want us to indulge so much in an issue that only needs guidance. Sometimes some members may not be aware that we have sufficient information available on the issue of the remnant, the church as the remnant. We have that is one of our doctrines. We have enough books here on that doctrine. It can be availed to every member. If you really need to understand it, go to your pastor, go to the church elders. I can assure you they are sufficiently equipped to provide you with all the evidence of what that doctrine means and how you can teach it out there properly without hurting others. I think that is the way I answered it, so that we don't have to indulge a lot into the same in the interest of time. Yeah, I felt that there's enough information available without reference to you.
Yeah. But I think this is really what you have here is a very good, very useful tool. So I'm hoping that pastors in every church, will promote it, because they are really, it is a resource tool, material which can be useful, and helping church members engage local authorities, So now, I would like to come back to the issue of remnant. Religious liberty is compatible with making claims. And if you look at the history of Christianity, every movement claims something, right? Let me give you an example. And like the churches come and emphasize one aspect or some aspect of the truth that they think have been neglected. They have the right to think like that. You don't have to agree, but they have the right to claim. The Catholic claims universality. That's what Catholic means. Baptists emphasize, baptism. If you look at the Anabaptist movement, they even have a mnemonic device to talk about the aspect of Christianity that they think were neglected. And they call it basin. Brotherhood, B stands for brotherhood of all believers. A, adult baptism. S, separation of church and state. I, in the world but not of the world. And then N, non-violence. So that is the Anabaptist, the Mennonite brand of Christianity. They say these are values that were neglected. Okay, another example, if you take the Quakers, they champion what they call equality. For example, in 1787, the first society for the abolition of slavery was in London. There were 12 people, and 9 of them were Quakers, because they say the equality is important, and because of equality, slavery should be abolished. So they promoted that. So again, a Christian church who says the teachings of Jesus on equality has been neglected, and they want to, put it again on the table. Almost every church claims something, and they have the right to claim. We may not agree, right? We too, Adventists, we have the right to claim, especially in a context of the churches in relation to the truth. We say that we are the remnant, and it is in a specific context. We say we are the remnant, meaning that among all the churches, the church that consistently remain faithful to the biblical teachings is the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's our claim. Others do not have to agree with that. We cannot force people to believe that. But I do believe that God has given us a unique mandate, to again uphold the biblical truth in a unique way. So.
Und es entstand ein Kampf im Himmel. Michael und seine Engel kämpften gegen den Drachen, und der Drache und seine Engel kämpften, aber sie siegten nicht, und ihre Stätte wurde nicht mehr im Himmel gefunden. Und so wurde der große Drache niedergeworfen, die alte Schlange, genannt der Teufel und der Satan, der den ganzen Erdkreis verführt. Er wurde auf die Erde hinabgeworfen, und seine Engel wurden mit ihm hinabgeworfen. Und ich sah aus dem Meer ein Tier aufsteigen, das 7 Köpfe und 10 Hörner hatte, und auf seinen Hörnern 10 Kronen, und auf seinen Köpfen einen Namen der Lästerung. Und das Tier, das ich sah, glich einem Panther, und seine Füße waren wie die eines Bären, und sein Rachen wie ein Löwenrachen. Und der Drache gab ihm seine Kraft und seinen Thron und große Vollmacht. Und ich sah einen seiner Köpfe wie zu Tode verwundet, und seine Todeswunde wurde geheilt. Und die ganze Erde sah verwundert dem Tier nach. Und sie beteten den Drachen an, der dem Tier Vollmacht gegeben hatte, und sie beteten das Tier an und sprachen: Wer ist dem Tier gleich? Wer vermag mit ihm zu kämpfen? Daher ermahne ich dich ernstlich vor dem Angesicht Gottes und des Herrn Jesus Christus, der Lebendige und Tote richten wird, um seiner Erscheinung und seines Reiches willen: Verkündige das Wort, tritt dafür ein, es sei gelegen oder ungelegen, überführe, tadle, ermahne mit aller Langmut und Belehrung. Denn es wird eine Zeit kommen, da werden sie die gesunde Lehre nicht ertragen, sondern sich selbst nach ihren eigenen Lüsten Lehrer beschaffen, weil sie empfindliche Ohren haben, und sie werden ihre Ohren von der Wahrheit abwenden und sich den Legenden zuwenden. Ich kenne deine Werke und deine Bemühungen und dein Ausharren, und dass du die Bösen nicht ertragen kannst. Und du hast die geprüft, die behaupten, sie seien Apostel und sind es nicht, und hast sie als Lügner erkannt. Ich kenne deine Werke und deine Drangsal und deine Armut, du bist aber reich. Und die Lästerung von denen, die sagen, sie seien Juden und sind es nicht, sondern eine Synagoge des Satans.